Good afternoon. My name is Dan Pesut, and I'm the professor and director of the Katherine J. Densford International Center for Nursing Leadership here at the University of Minnesota School of Nursing, where our motto and mission is to advance innovation leadership through creativity and wisdom work. And with me today is Donald Gault, who has a lot of wisdom from his 35 years of working in public health and his educational preparation and background as a trainer and founder of Building Peaceful Communities. And he has a Master of Public Arts degree from the Humphrey Institute of Public Affairs and a bachelor's in political science from Northeastern Illinois University in Chicago, Illinois. And he has a lot of experience he wants to share with us about community systems organizing. And part of his wisdom is going to be applied with some models that he's going to share with us that you can use in your practice. An epidemiology model to kind of help you frame and understand things. A model about communication, which he calls ABC. And we'll talk about specific applications of those models to some of the work he's done in Ramsey County, and then talk about how you might take those models into the future with some of the Next Systems project work. So Donald, welcome.
Dan, thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you. Well, hi everybody. So as Dan told you, I have had the privilege and honor of working in public health for about 35 years, 29 of those working for Ramsey County and St. Paul Ramsey County Public Health. And I want to briefly give you some background on work that we've done here in this community in violence prevention. That's been the major focus of my work for quite a while now. In 1990, a tragedy happened in St. Paul, and it's a tragedy that we hear about too often. There was a 5-year-old boy who was living in his home with his mother. His mother's boyfriend killed this boy in their home. What was truly tragic about this event, in addition to the loss of this child, was that all of our community systems were working with this family, and nobody made any mistakes. There were child protection workers, public health nurses, social workers, income maintenance workers, a whole system of people working around intervening and trying to help this family. And in light and under the nose of those systems, this boy was killed. That led to a really, I believe, courageous and important decision by the Ramsey County Board to try to work on violence prevention, to really try to figure out how could we prevent this before it occurs in the first place. And it was an acknowledgement that while we obviously need to keep doing our intervention work, that it alone can't solve this problem, that we need to be both doing intervention and prevention work at the same time. And I was given the privilege of being a part of really trying to figure out how to do that. And in these conversations, we're going to share some of the things that we learned over the years from that work. The first thing I really want to focus on is this notion that Dan touched on, the idea of community system organizing. And I would say that really a good part of the background came from a League of Women Voters report that was done right around the same time that talked about if we're going to, in this case, prevent the problem of violence and family violence, we need to look at all of the different systems in our community that affect people's lives, both in a positive and potentially in a negative way. So look at faith communities, look at schools, look at workplaces, and what role they might be able to play in really creating a community system, a larger community system that is promoting health and well-being in families. At the same time, we also needed to look at things within those community systems that might be inadvertently causing some of the problems. So again, if you think about a workplace can be a very positive place where people get income, they get meaning in their lives, they have colleagues. It can also, at the same time, though, be a very stressful place that can lead people to come home in worse shape than they may be left and actually teach them things that may inadvertently lead to some of the violence we see in our community. So we looked at that community system organizing idea and really came up with a model of engaging people in our community from each sector of the community, again, from schools, workplaces, media, faith communities, to ask that question, how could I be a part of preventing family violence? Two really key things to doing that we're going to discuss in the next segment are, first of all, the idea of really understanding what is it that we're even talking about, being very, very clear about the problem that we're trying to solve and how we might want to work towards solving it. And then secondly, how can we get people to see that it's actually in their interest to be a part of this, because we're all very busy with so many things, but how do we actually engage people? So the two things that we're going to be focusing on are an epidemiological approach to understanding, in this case, violence, but you could take that really, and I hope apply it to any area that you're going to be working in. And then secondly, as Dan told you, this idea of the ABCs of communication, which really helps us engage people in wanting to be a part of the solution.
That's great, Donald. It reminds me of, in systems theory, they talk about the iceberg model, you know, that 10% is above the oceans, what you can see, but there's really 90% that's holding that iceberg in place, and unless you kind of dig into the root causes and really figure out all of the different factors that are impacting the system, you really don't have a complete understanding of how to leverage a system or what the dynamic is, and it's crucial that a leader understand both the 10% aspect and the 90% aspect, and I think these tools that we're going to share will enable people to unpack that in a new and different way.
Absolutely.
All right.
Great.
Thank you.